incredible. They managed to beat the ultimates on it as well. So I think they've proven that they can definitely play this map to a very high standard, especially, actually, no, on both sides of the map. So I don't think it's too much of a worry for them at this stage. And as said, they're kind of going into it with not a lot to lose. Like, what realistically, what is there to lose for them at this stage? They're already out of the tournament. They're 0-3. They can't manage to make it through no matter what happens here. They could 13-0 the next two maps. So realistically, might as well just try and make this one competitive, make this one a little bit more interesting, and show that, okay, we do have that structure. We can sort of play together on this one.
Well, it looks like we've made it all the way to Ascent. Saw fighting to get to Sunset. And I think at this point, you know, like I said, a couple rounds at the end of the last, it puts wind in their sails. A pistol here, invaluable for them. PCIFIC starting out on the defensive side, and there is still time. You know, there's 30 seconds on the clock, but I see 3 players grouped up at that mid barrier. Now, considering the dominant scoreline of the past map and how it probably felt to them, bar the pistol and the 4 rounds in a row as a result of it, probably felt to them like they were pretty dominant. I think they're going to start this one out with a lot of aggression.
I'll have to wait and see. For Saw, they are going to start out on that attack. Look to try and take a little bit of extra space. Loita already off to a flying start, going down middle, challenging them, and you can see for Saw already maybe just feeling the pressure a little bit. When a team does that to you at the opening, you know you're going to get pushed and pulled, and looking for any further aggression outside B. And they're actually moving towards the exact position on the map that has been stacked up by the defensive side. 3 players there, but they managed to get rid of Laurent.
That they have. The first man has fallen, and Lloyd is not far behind. Tagged down low on the A site. Are making their way in, but so too is Rose, having retaken a bit of control and caused chaos. ComeBack's able to grab a kill on the back of it. Fragger 1v3, trapped in a corner and left there with a 1-0 start for PCIFIC. That's not what you want to see if you're a Saw fan. Not damning by any means, but well, we don't want to see this one go quite as dominantly as before. So you want to see Saw on that board early.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, again, ComeBack, he's been lighting up the server. I think everybody's been talking about him when it comes to Ascension and EMEA. And the fact that he comes into each one of these rounds with such an incredible amount of confidence. You have to bear in mind as well, like, sure, you're looking at PCIFIC and going, okay, well, maybe if they lose this game, they won't finish top of the group. But that's incorrect, because they beat everybody on head-to-head. So for them, this is just fun. Like, this is them getting a few extra practices on maybe maps that I was gonna say they're not confident on, but they won this yesterday versus Job Life anyway, so it's not like the craziest thing. Nice shots out from Addicted, at least making this one a little bit more competitive, maybe building up a little bit of confidence. He was one of the players that at least managed to do a bit of damage in the previous map, considering how dominant it was. That's not a bad mantle to have, but ultimately, round still goes the way of that defensive side. Might be a little bit more costly than they would have liked it to be.
Yeah, I would imagine so. You take a look down at their economy now, like they're really not going to have a lot to work with in terms of rifles. No one's upgrading like crazy. So there's a couple pistols. Runs down that cost. So this is their chance. They lost the pistol. It's okay. Now they've got the rifles against this weaker buy. 3 bulldogs, 2 sheriffs. Many chances for Saw to get on that board early. A site is where the spike is going. A little bit of a fake playing out on B. Doesn't seem to be working. I can already see ComeBack is on his way to the A site.
Or you feel like for a second Loita is going to just hit that shot through the smoke. I've got to the point with this team where sort of all bets are off. It's like watching Seeded. You just go, maybe he hits it. Like, who am I? Who am I to tell Seeded what he can and can't do? And that's how this Pacific team just feels as a whole. Like, oh, he's going for spam shots straight through smoke, which could realistically get him killed. keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I think you'll do it. And for the most part, they do. The drone is going to get them all the information. They've already seen a multitude of players, pinged up one of them. Hasn't pulled any rotation yet, but the knife is going to give more and more away. This is a great opportunity for Saw. Only a couple of players here, and if I've learned anything from the game the other day, holding on to the boathouse can be very difficult.
Well, it comes with its challenges, but Rose is meeting that challenge. ComeBack 16 HP won't last too long here. The spam gives him away. Dropped, as is Rose, and Larocque not far behind, just 69 HP on the swing. Able to drop Addicted, and the time here, a bit of a factor, 10 seconds. Spike has to be committed. Loita knows it, but not in the right position to punish. Never mind, picking off an individual, and another! Loita just shut that down. They tried to get into Boathouse, but he will not let them enter that doorway. A third on the board for Pacific. Oh, this is heartbreaking for Saw. That was their round.
Spike down B.
I don't know. I feel like after the last map, things stopped being heartbreaking and started just becoming another day at the office. Like these youngsters are just insane. You can't even like give them 0.2 of a second to prepare their shots because they'll land them. High pressure situations mean absolutely nothing to them. And the 1v2 made to look very, very easy. 3-0. A strong defensive side start. Of course, guess what? ComeBack's going straight to the Outlaw just to make sure he can try and farm up some of those low shield players. And guess what? All 5 of them have got the light shields. And they have spotted him already. They've also got a lot of space to get in on towards this B site. The Hunter's Fury trying to disrupt, trying to almost make things awkward. They haven't checked the corner though. First kill's free. Is there anything more? Yes, there is. Celasun holding the line and has bought time for Rose in the backline and bought time for the rotations. Rose will even take one with him. But Cunha's made it interesting. Back to a 2v2.
Right here.
Workable position, but the spike being down in the open, a big problem. Cunha can potentially find one and TP up for it. Oh, but Addicted goes out wide, takes one down, and leaves us into the 1 versus 1. No smoke. Cunha has quite a distance to run once he jumps up top. He's being very cautious, with no idea where Loita is lurking, waiting for that chance. And oh, the position's being given away. The shot from Cunha is good, waiting for that repeat, knowing Loita's going to go for it, but 15 seconds left. The pressure's on for Saw. It's Cunha that has to make the move. It was a fake to start this one.
10 seconds left.
Being stuck all the way. Loita's not caught him, but knows he hasn't fallen back and catches him in the open. Another round on the B site where Loita will not let up. That's 4-0 for Pacific. And after the dominant map in the previous, this is the last thing Saw needed.
Loita's just insane. Like the initial hold, Celasun did very well. I think Cunha had a decent round as well. But even still, this is one tough position to try and get back from. 4-0. Again, they're going to invest the operator now into hand as well, so it's not going to make things any easier. We'll see if this attack can finally get themselves on the board.
After what we've seen, I don't know how high my confidence levels are. No high impact ultimates really, but a couple very close, and Larocque is online. Nice angle. That's 1 kill for free. Cloudburst used, but Loita's on the off angle, closing this down. A deadly duo waiting on the A site. I've already claimed the spike. Fragger won't get much more. Denied after the initial engagement. Swings to close the door and gets shot by the op. This is a devastating scenario yet again. Round after round for Saw, where it feels like either they have a small opportunity and get destroyed immediately, or they never get started. The round's over before it begins. Drop down. Well, he waited for the reload, but there were plenty more players primed and ready for the fight.
That one was a little bit cleaner. 5-0 for Pacific on the defense. Their opponent's map choice going about as well as theirs. I wonder if there's going to be a continuation of these 4 spies. This one seemingly lesser than the last. Cunha is going to invest into a rifle and light shields, but bear in mind, I was about to say, he wouldn't be able to buy into the next round if he does it. Maybe some frustration or some conversations about a hero rifle. But it does look like they've opted for the lighter option. For BRK as well, a single kill and a death would be Bladestorm. An orb being taken as well, so it's not even as much of a risk. And he has more cash than the rest anyway, so not really the end of the world. The drone just leading the path for comeback. Don't know if you're going to expect this operator this far forward and already losing the lurk. It gives up so much of the map that Saw are actually going to have to reposition and look to try and claim some of that ground back.
Scanning ahead.
The reveal will not actually catch anyone, and the drone won't fly with... Okay, a good place knife by Laroc. Loita is down as well. BRK's claimed some serious space. That's the one rifle they've gotten, although BRK is tagged up and Fragger is too. They've got the advantage. They've got the site on lockdown. The Hunter's Fury, all that could recover this. BRK desperately dodging it. The next fire goes towards Cunha, but he's dodging too. Well handled. And the Hunter's Fury of Rose not finding its mark. Sets them up now. Close range angles, headshot angles on the way out. A chance for the weaker weapons below to land, and it's BRK trading out his teammate from afar. This is all that Saw needed. It could well be their first round on the board. Celasun trying his best to deny, and he's done well. The main player of the round, the only one to find the kills down, and the rifle no longer in play. Cunha good for at least the one, and it's addicted to try to recover this. The shock dart's not landed, and it's already close to half. The next swing could be brutal for addicted. He wants to get an arrow out, but in the end, it's the Sheriff to close Saw with a round at long last.
Definitely got dicey. BRK, an incredible round from him, just being able to get multiple openers into the site, especially with the way things started. They needed him to have a hero around, and he definitely did. Even still, it came down to the very late stages, with Cunha having to hold the ground at the end, and addicted just playing with that timer. This will now give a big boost for Saw in terms of their economy, or give them an extra purchase, even if this one doesn't go their way. It's definitely not going to get any easier from here on out. That operator hasn't gone anywhere, but BRK has.
Yeah, well, I don't think many players want to go where BRK is gone. He's down and out of the round. Rose sends addicted to meet him, and a chance for more with Fragger up close. Nice duel. Well, at least it seemed that way, right? Celasun's there, deeper down on the angle, trading the teammate, leaving Pacific with the advantage, with the spike down in the open too. I see the aggression from Loita. It's being spotted by the camera, so nothing big to come of that, and they should be able to reclaim the spike. The problem comes in the 2 versus 3, 50 seconds on the clock, and oh, that gives them plenty of time to go where they want. They just have to read where the stack is.
That's the thing. There's still utility to give the game away.
I know exactly.
Lockdown's going to be used, and you might be thinking it's a little bit early, but it will buy things down to the 30-second mark. They're going to go running into it. They want to try and isolate this man. They want to try and fight him, and you know what? They've succeeded. I thought that was one hell of a gamble, but it's definitely worked out. I guess expecting that must be the weaker site. You wouldn't use a lockdown if there was multiple players there. Loita again, though. This is his domain. This is his site. Even though he might not be playing it most of the time, he's looking for a 3-for-3 retake, and this time he has to... Oh, but it doesn't matter! It's the Omen site! Just this time, the story is flipped.
We had a confidence building round that led to a large number over on the previous map, at least a relative to what Saw had previously. That round right there, Cunha, unbelievable The nade even hits him. 20 HP. Just the one shot needed, but none come close. That's a second round locked in for Saw. A chance now to bring this a little bit further. If they win this round, Pacific could be on an eco. You could see this scoreline very, very close from what was a pretty damning position. Even in that 2v1, it was looking like 6-1 and Pacific running away with things. Instead, a lifeline delivered at the last second.
I must wait.
With those back-to-back clutches. This might have just put the fire back into Saw. Still, both teams' economy on the edge. But that's a decent start. Removing Larocque from action with the operator. BRK has been fantastic, and he continues to be. Now has a Blade Storm of his own to fight with, taking the space. He looks to be the catalyst. Dear Lord, ComeBack just goes dashing in. He wanted that fight badly, it seems, but a 1-for-1 trade, definitely not worth it. And while his counterpart has done so much, there's little Celasun can do. That's going to be a third. There's nothing that can be done. And of course, it's BRK, who didn't even take a point of damage in that round.
The individuals stepping it up for the side of Saw. This is what we needed to see, and better late than never. This could have been 6 or 7-1, and instead, a tight scoreline. Celasun left to save on the other side of the map. Economy low for the side of Pacific. The attack side really getting their boot in the door. For Saw, yeah, they have to take this map and then go to Sunset, but it's 1 foot in front of the other. And previously, dealing with Loita and Larocque towards the side of A, there was no question about it. It wasn't happening. They're starting to be able to crack open what was previously an impenetrable wall. And I think you really have to look at a man like BRK for why that is possible. Can they do it again, though?
Well, evidently, Pacific are trying to come together to make sure that doesn't happen. They used the Blade Storm in the last round. It wasn't a low buy. They had rifles. So they're now sat in a position where their lead is slipping. It's happening a little bit earlier than it did last time. Of course, the lead is still theirs, and there were no slouches when it came to the attack side, so it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I think we're starting to see what Saw can do. And yeah, BRK, Cunha as well, with Addicted stepping up in clutches. This is the version of Saw that we wanted to see, especially with a clean round at their back. Starts to build up some of the extra money to invest into this next round. And for the defense, oh, they can have a couple of hero rifles here and there, but it's mostly going to be pistols.
Alarm bot out. Turn out.
Yeah, you can see they've stuck with that as the barriers go up. Lots of pistols for the side of Pacific. The timeout used to collect themselves and possibly even just discuss the next round and get the most juice for the squeeze here with ComeBack and Celasun and having those rifles. The presence early given away towards B. That drone just now heard. And we can see Pacific are starting to rotate back into position there. Rose to fill in the gap. ComeBack on his way. Even a slight rotation from Celasun. They're thinking about it. The spike's still outside of B, on its way in. It looks like they're going to walk into a heavier defended side, or at least it did. We're second guessing it now. Saw on the way to the other side of the map.
And with Loita not having a whole lot of support, getting caught out. Celasun's also been revealed. It would have to be ComeBack, and again, it's only going to be the one and done. The trade's coming in thick and fast. Celasun, though, has locked them in, forced them to go back towards that B site. The defense has almost completely left that position. Larocque only just making it in. He doesn't realize how far forward they are. They're being pushed and pulled across the map. The rotations not quite working for this defensive side. While It's going to take a risk, and that risk, it shouldn't pay off. In fact, Rose is going to be completely blinded, and Cunha's there to help out with the final.
A nice cleanup in the end, and yes, the round goes as expected. Is what we warned of. Saw winning out that round just a little bit ago. A big individual step up, and now the rounds start to come flooding in. 5-4. And Pacific now with a full buy. Operator in play. And yeah, the null command alongside the From the Shadows. I'm not certain of their impact, but Addicted, well, a lot of these Hunter's Furies have been terrifying. I don't expect it off rip in the round, but keep an eye on that drone. If it finds its mark, it could be in trouble on that defensive side. The op, though, the main focal point for me, and ComeBack is pushed all the way up in B main. A potential fight for him and for Rose here on mid.
Oh, it seems like they've been how's Rose managed to get away with this? Only going to be the 2, but even still, that's such high impact. Not cleared out. They sent the Sova elsewhere to check outside of B. That's normally where you send the drone. That's normally where you put the util to clear. It wasn't the case. From a 4-round streak ending in an unfortunate manner, Pacific and more importantly Rose have got away with one there.
Just a guy tucked in the corner, and the bait further back. You get a little too pigeonholed in. It's the only thing you can see. A small mistake, but a very, very costly one. And saw win streak broken. Bankroll still there to support them, but now Hunter's Fury having been invested in the previous round, there's a lot of ults in play right here. And well, Fragger has tried to activate the null command, null effect, except for the damage done. It ends up leading to even another player in Addicted getting tagged low. Luckily, they're able to get him back online, having contested this laneway for this alley, which the spams were coming from. TP around Loita, straight in for a free kill. The spike is just around the corner.
Cunha's going in alone. He might get caught out because of it. Oh, this is a problem. Does get away with one, but that's a spike on the deck. It's a messy round, and the defense have decided to just leave this one. LaRock just going ham to try and hold on to them here, but then BLK comes in from behind. It is one of the most peculiar rounds I've ever seen, with fights across the map. A death match, if anything.
Last round before the switch.
And well, they couldn't match up to Pacific in that race.
What a peculiar round indeed. You have the attackers being able to get a player inserted on that B site, then to execute on A does not work. They're not expecting such aggressive control to be held of short that deep into the round. 7-4. Defensive side stringing 2 together, putting that dominance back up on the board. And Saw, they're gonna put everything into this one. The big ults aren't there anymore, and they've got to be scared of B main. After what we saw in the previous round, you can see they're back and forth around the entrance to B main, not wanting to overcommit, knowing at any moment that recon's coming through, and that Odin spam not going to be far behind. But Rose is going to give them a moment to breathe.
Instead, they look to again split, looking to head in towards this A site. The operator ready and waiting. And now the dash comes through. Now, ComeBack did actually walk away. The fake had done enough. The flash is madness. It's madness, but somehow Lurk survived. What? Oh, I guess the side of Saul must have been running around with scissors, because that's the only way LaRock gets away with that one.
Shutting them down.
How have they gotten away with it? Such domination from the Pacific side, and it ain't ending yet. Still yet to see a defensive player fall in this round, and I don't. Well, okay, we'll see one fall. That's good, but yeah, I'm feeling Saul's chance to take in the round, and now the half 8-4 as we settle it. That's a very strong first half for Pacific, considering the domination in the previous map. It could be a death sentence. We'll find out if it is after the break. Welcome back, folks. 8-4 to Pacific as they mount their attacking side here on Ascent. Saw's map pick. We had 4 straight rounds for Saw, a streak that was quickly interrupted and put to bed. Pacific now look to close this one out. They won the pistol to start out the first half. They win the pistol here in the second, Tom. It is going to look very bleak for Saw.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think that it's already a bit of a bleak scenario after the streak was ended, but there has been no doubt in my mind that this squad should be able to get those remaining rounds. We'll have to wait and see. As said, this map for Saw has always been stellar. They've proven they can play both sides of it, but that's not the start they were looking for. Cunha trying to turn the tide, and the tide has not been turned. It leaves Addicted. He's had his moments. I will say, not the biggest fan of Larocque's position right now. And most of the time when you play these 2v1 scenarios, you want to make sure you don't give a 1v1. And he most certainly is.
Oh, yeah, he is a risk taker, I think it's fair to say. Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it doesn't. But here, no punish. Addicted with the reveal. Time ticking very quickly, though. He is going to have to up the pace. The drop down into the open. Larocque almost in position to swing and not needed. Celasun, the one to close that out. And another pistol for Pacific. 9-4 in the map. Facing into what should be an eco. This is looking like a death sentence for Saw. One that they are going to struggle to recover from.
Honestly, I think the most impressive thing with this team might be that if Pacific win it all, at least I think 2 of their players, Loita and Larocque, will not be old enough. So they could make a partnership with another tier 2 team and win again. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did. That would be the biggest flex of all time. Just not being old enough, being loaned to someone else, and then still winning. Like, that would be... I think they've become some of the most expensive youngsters ever. Little bit depressing, of course, because I think there's no doubt that these youngsters are definitely ready for the VCT, but there are rules, there are laws in place, unfortunately, that mean you have to be 18 to be in the league. Nice shot from Addicted, though. Not a bad start. Of course, the player that's gone down only has a pistol. Oh, that's not a pistol, though. Comeback left low as well. There's a real opportunity here. Actually, with them walking into what is a fairly stacked up A site, already a player very low, using Guardians and Bulldogs at that. I'm starting to get a bit nervous here for Pacific.
Yeah, understandably, they are running into it, and BRK, the one to present the major threat. In fact, another down below, a double for Cunha. It's looking very good indeed. Larocque left to try to pick up the pieces. 25 seconds left. And 2 players grouped up. He's just 2 HP. Okay, well, he's got an isolated fight, but walking into that, not going to be easy. A 3K from Cunha, and Saw are back on the board.
No, I think having the initial fight go so well for Addicted, it just forced the hand of this attack side to go walking into what was the stack. I also think it was very disjointed. Like, a lot of what this team does well on the attack side is play together, like have those sort of like fast-paced rounds where they group up. They didn't do that here. It was a player pushing through short who was low, one player goes in. It just makes things a little bit easier for the side of Saw to isolate those fights. They're not going to take a leaf out of their opponent's book. They're going to see that outlaw onto BRK. He was definitely very good when it came to the sniper in the first half and in the last map, in all honesty, when he was actually in a position to find kills. He did the job well. Of course, the purchase here for the attack kind of sucks, if we're being honest.
Scanning ahead. Found them.
It is a bit poor. Fair to say. You have to invest a couple more credits, get the damage done typically, but the side of Saw, they'll be happy to see that. BRK gets a nice easy kill onto Loita, and everyone else still standing is an easy kill as well, in theory. Just one shot to the body. Well, it only counts if you hit the body. And it seems like they most certainly have for the rest of these kills. 6 on the board now for Saw. Just 3 behind. I mean, this is the point where one more buy round going their way, and I start to believe they're very much back in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like the pistol round probably should have been a nail in the coffin, but instead, finding the return puts a huge boost to the economy. It means they'll come into this one with a very strong round. In fact, they're going to go in with an operator, and they have enough to buy in the next anyway, so why not? And for the attack, it leaves them with some pieces missing. Not going to have the fragment on Larocque, already having themselves low shields on most players. And almost definitely won't have a buy into the next round if they were to lose this one. So we'll see. This could be a good opportunity for Saw to save some face and get themselves back into the map.
Yep. Definitely seems like it could be. And they're playing this one patiently. Understandably for the defense. PCIFIC, a minute on the clock. Decision time. Seems like they're already gearing up for this A take. Cage up, Paranoia in return. Cunha under pressure. That dash already come in. We're losing players left, right, and center on the site for Saw. Comeback jumps in to save the life of Loita. And a 5 versus 2 emerges. This was a successful A take if ever I've seen one. Addicted might have a chance to catch someone off guard, breaking around towards short. The door is sealed shut and 2 players low on the site. With it having to be broken open, I don't think they're going to be in any way surprised by his position.
No, for him though, he might as well go for this. If he has enough credits that he'll be able to buy into a rifle next round and a better one than the Bulldog. For BRK, I'm not so sure. I think giving up the operator there had no value. Like, you're up against 5 players. Maybe you get 1. It's an extra orb. Sure, they have some spare credits, but that was a little bit of an overextension for me. And I guess for Addicted, he's come out with an extra gun, so he can drop over another op. But
Right here.
yeah, that doesn't seem like it was worth it.
No, the cost here quite heavy. And a timeout for Saw as they're going to take their time to close out this map. They're going to need a pretty strong performance, stringing together round after round, shutting down PCIFIC. We need to see players like ComeBack and Larocque silenced. And even then, the impact of even the bottom of the board for PCIFIC has been up there for round wins. A lot to discuss for them. And I think in particular, the impact of BRK early round with that operator could be what separates Saw in terms of a victory or a loss. I don't know quite how easy it's going to be to land those impactful early kills, though.
This is definitely crunch time. That round was so clean for the side of PCIFIC. And as I said, when they go for these executions as a group, I feel like they have a crazy ability on like dive comms, like dive aggression, like where you see the pop flashes from Larocque. ComeBack as an entry is sublime, but everybody is committed to the bit. Like they are all in with these fights, and when they do that, I feel like they're incredibly difficult to stop without the right util. When they play the defaults, I think that's where the opportunity lies a little bit more for the side of Saw. And why it seems like BRK might agree. This is an unorthodox position to have an operator, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's unorthodox. Loita is so ready for it. The second swing might catch ComeBack. Never mind. Oh, it just goes from bad to worse. But from good to even gooder, I guess. For the side of the attack. Oh, they're just, yeah, it's just done. It's just unstoppable at this stage. I don't know how he corrected in time. I don't know how Loita was prepared, but they're one step ahead.
It really does just appear like there's nothing you can do in those moments. And this is similar to what we saw in Abyss in so many of the rounds.
Enemy remaining.
It just felt like Pacific moving as a unit were better. Moving as individuals were better. And at a certain point, you have to just put 2 and 2 together and say maybe Pacific are just better. And it definitely seems to be the case in terms of even just the group. Like I said, a couple close maps against Maus, but they smashed the ultimates. And on the second map, absolutely annihilated Job Life. Here versus Saw, there's not been, I don't know about you, Tom, but I if there's been more than 2 rounds where I felt like it was anyone's game, I'm surprised. You know, for the most part, this has just felt like Pacific's series.
I think the thing is, it's like they had the 4-round streak after the start, and for then I was like, okay, and then they ran through mid without checking a quarter, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's done. Like, it's so hard when you make those mistakes, and those are like glaring mistakes as well. I think that's the frustrating thing. Is like, these are things I think are just happening because of pressure, because of who they were up against, because the team that are on the other side, and because of how things have gone so far. I don't believe that those are mistakes they would be making week in, week out. And it just makes it so much more difficult for them. Straight in. Good start for Cunha. He's had his moments. There's no doubt about it. This guy has individual prowess. And even going to try and find something. Lorca's killed himself. Well, a little bit of help from your friends, I guess. The attackers are going to throw down a lockdown. They're hoping that maybe this will slow down the push. It's done anything but. They're going above and beyond. Maybe beyond the grave.
Spike down A.
And now it comes down to just Loita. The guy has been unreal in the clutch, but not this time. His counterpart of BRK will win this one. A little bit of comedic relief for the side of Saw as they were helped out by Larok.
Yeah, oh, they can thank him later, I suppose. I don't know. I think for the side of Saw, you start to count them out. Same thing happened on Abyss. You count them out, and that was where the 4. Okay. All right. Well, there was no need to show it in such high definition. Here, it came down to just a second or so to actually get that lockdown destroyed. That could have been a very awkward scenario unfolding. Maybe a different result for the round. BRK, a little too slow getting into position there, and ComeBack has punished with a great amount of damage done to Cunha as well. Stuck in the smoke. Bladestorm looking for another victim. Won't be offered just yet.
Oh.
What? They even thought about a flash. There was a moment where Fragger was about to throw a flash, decided not to, and the push still happened. That is just a lack of synchronizing as a team. Another awkward fight, and this one seems to be done. Hunter's Fury used, and before the ult is done, the round is.
Match point.
This is seemingly coming to a close. There's definitely been a difference in individual ability, but I also think in cohesion. This round is a prime example of that. It's been messy. Well, at 12-7, Pacific have proven again and again that they might not necessarily choose this map. Regionally, it might not be their best, statistically at least. But picking it against them, well, after this, unless there's a 5-round streak, they will have beaten both Saw, who, as we mentioned at the beginning, regionally and including a game versus the Ultimate, 16-1 this year, and Job Life, who again had I believe, an almost flawless Ascent. But those statistics mean nothing when the Turkish princes are on the server, when this man is facing you down. He is lurking with an operator. That's how confident he is right now. He's selling a ruse of a solo jet op on A, and they might actually double back to join him. No, they don't need to. Loita's found another pick. Addicted's got a fight with an Odin on short, and the spike is going down. They're not going to be able to stop that one.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, the shot from ComeBack as well. insult to injury, really, this has been a dominant score line on the first map and a dominant display on the second as well. PCIFIC for the win they most certainly have earned, and they've topped out the group with that. I mean, there was no doubting it anyways, but doing so flawlessly.